Hey guys, Todd here. Today we're going to install the Endure ALX from Extang on this Ram 2500. Now this is a standard installation that's similar for most applications. The tools I'll be using for this installation are a ratchet with a 9/16 and 1/2 inch sockets and a Phillips head screwdriver. Now make sure you're subscribed to our channel to stay up to date with all our latest content. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so our first step is to install our bulkhead seal. Now, if you've got a plastic drop-in liner that wraps over top of the bulkhead, you can skip this step. We've got a painted exposed bulkhead, so this is what we need. Now, this is what it looks like coming out of your kit. We actually already have one installed on this truck from another cover, so we're just going to use this one, but it goes all the way from one side to the other, meeting up to the bed caps and as far back away from the cab as possible. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and install our passenger side rail. If you look up at the front, we've got an aluminum tab that sticks out to the inside of the bed. Also, we've got a rubber seal that sits on top of the bed cap. What we're going to do is we're going to lift this up, set it onto the bed cap. It'll rest on the bed cap, and what we're going to do is slide it forward to where the rubber bumper at the front pushes up against your bulkhead. And what I'm going to do here is just take a squeeze clamp and set it in place temporarily. All right, so we're going to put our first clamp in the center of the rail. If you look up inside the rail, you're going to notice some ridges. Those ridges will match ridges on the inside of the clamp. So what we're going to do is slide that up in there and make sure they mate properly together. Then squeeze the clamp together and then turn that nut to where it starts to make contact. Take a 9/16 wrench or ratchet and get it just slightly snug. And then before you tighten it down all the way, go ahead and seat the top seal. And now we can go ahead and snug that down. Don't over tighten this. We're only going to bring it to about 10 foot-pounds. We can go ahead and remove our squeeze clamp. Okay, now we're up at the front clamping location. You want to install that clamp about 6 to 9 inches from the bulkhead. Now every application is going to be different, but basically you want to make sure that there is metal flange back behind the plastic bed cap. You don't want to just clamp the plastic bed cap. We're going to install that clamp the exact same way as we installed the first clamp. We're going to get it all the way up into the rail. Tighten it down by hand first. Get it snug with a 9/16. Set the seal at the top, and then tighten it down the rest of the way. Again, just at 10 foot-pounds. Let's go ahead and move to the rear. All right, so now we're back at the tailgate location. With the tailgate clamp, what we're going to do is go about 6 inches up from the tailgate. Again, that is an estimate. It's going to vary based on vehicle. You want to make sure there are no obstructions underneath where you're applying the clamp, and make sure that you have a metal bed flange that you're clamping to. Same way, it just goes right up in. Make sure it's mated properly to the grooves in the rail. Hand tighten it. Use 9/16 to get it snug. Set the rail. And then tighten it the rest of the way down. Repeat the same process for the rail on the driver's side. Okay, so this is the cover pulled out of the box. Let me go ahead and pull this open. You're going to notice we've got kind of a short panel that's in here. This is our header panel that goes up over top of your bulkhead. You're going to notice you got some packing material that's here. You can go ahead and pull that off. It's going to be exactly the same on the opposite side. Go ahead and pull packing material off of both sides. Pull back this tape. Once I pull this out of the way, we're also going to go ahead and fold this down, and we'll see we've got some tape on the other side as well. So we're going to go ahead and pull that tape off. This is where we're going to install the buckle for the strap. All right, so here is our buckle. Now we want to make sure that lines up to these two holes here, and also make sure the opening on the buckle faces towards our strap. The way this fastens is we've got some backers that are in our kit. Those are going to go into the back side that we just pulled the tape off of. We'll fold that back over, line our buckle up to that, and we've got a couple of screws. They're going to go through the top and use a Phillips head screwdriver. I like to get both of them started before I tighten either one of them down. That way they both get lined up properly. And just get them nice and snug. You don't need to over tighten this. I'll go ahead and repeat the same process for the other side of the cover. All right, now we can go ahead and set our cover onto our rails. and then fold our header panel forward. Make sure it's centered side to side, and what we're going to do is we're going to fold that header panel back, and here we're going to see a couple of tracks. We're going to have some hardware, we'll have some bolts slide into these tracks. We're going to do that on either side and line them up to this slot. Repeat the same on the opposite side. Okay, so here are the two bolts that are coming down out of the cover into the aluminum tab on the rail. What we're going to do is use our hardware. We're going to have a flat washer as rubber, followed by a flat washer as metal, and then a nylock nut that goes on top of each one of these. We got a rubber washer, a flat washer, nylock nut. We're only putting this hardware on loosely for right now so that we can adjust the cover. All right, and do the same for the opposite side. All right, now that we've got the hardware loosely installed, let's go ahead and start folding the cover back one panel at a time. Make sure each panel is centered in the rails and that the latches engage the rail as we go. All right, now let's go ahead and adjust it at the tailgate. Okay, now you're going to want to have the tailgate up when you adjust the cover from front to back. Now, when you adjust that cover, you want to make sure that the frame of the cover, the aluminum frame of the cover, not this portion, but this part of the aluminum frame of the cover, comes in just short, about 1/4 inch of the tailgate. That way, the seal can sit on top of the tailgate. Once you get that in place, make sure that everything latches properly. Once you've ensured that it latches properly, go ahead and tighten down your hardware. Okay, now that we got everything lined up properly, we're going to go ahead and tighten down our hardware using a 1/2 inch wrench or ratchet. Don't over tighten this hardware. We're only going to bring it to about 2 foot-pounds. If you start to bend the washer, it's too tight. All right, repeat the same on the opposite side. All right, now we're going to go ahead and install our drain tube from our drain cup out the bed of the truck. Now, depending on your application, it may go in a different location. We've got the bed rug liner installed in this truck. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull the liner back right here and fit the drain tube back behind that. And this end here is going to come up to the drain cup and just fit in place like so. Repeat the same on the opposite side. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and install our cab bumpers to our cover. Now the cab bumpers buffer the cover from contacting the cab. And it's going to vary based on application where they actually need to go. This particular application, you only need to have a cab bumper installed right on top of where your third brake light is going to be, so right in the center. What we're going to do is go ahead and peel that back. I've already wiped down the surface of the cover where the cab bumper is going to be installed with some isopropyl alcohol. Set it in place, put some pressure down for a few seconds, you get good adhesion. There you go. Now on other applications, you just want to make sure that you're about 1 inch in from the side of the cab and install the cab bumper 1 inch in on either side. And repeat the same on the opposite side. Now, if you need to adjust your latches for proper rail engagement, make sure you refer to your paper instructions. Also, make sure you tighten down your hardware after a week of use and periodically thereafter. Well, that concludes the installation. If you found this video helpful, make sure and give us a thumbs up. If you want to know more about the product, Check the link in the description below, and as always, if you have any questions, call the experts or visit us online at RealTruck.com.